Hey everyone, I'm Bredmo.
And I'm Bunnery.
And this is IFXtra.
Hello. We've had quite a busy week this week, but we haven't necessarily been working on interference all week, have we? For a start, we had to go to the accountants. That's never fun, is it?
Yeah, I had like loads of kind of admin sort of stuff to do this week, really.
We took our very expensive piece of paper from America there.
Exciting times.
Yeah.
So lots of admin. I had to sort of clear up a little bit of contract work and stuff like that as well. So, but yeah, aside from that, I've done some sort of development bits. Again, not strictly interference. It was a bit of an experiment. I've been looking at maybe doing something for Facebook's instant games platform. So we thought that might be an interesting place to sort of surface interference. I'm not entirely sure if it'd work for interference, but we might say throw loose vowels up on there or something like that.
Give it a go and see how that goes first.
And if it does work, then maybe make a version of interference for it. Well, a simplified version of the website, I think it would basically be.
Cool. Exciting times, eh?
Exciting times. Do I say that a lot?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So aside from that, have actually done a few useful interference bits and pieces. Fixed a bug with signing in using an email address and password in the Windows 10 and 8 apps and phone. Android website were okay. It was to do with changes I've made in preparation for the new website, but that's all good now. Some other kind of bug fixes, nothing terribly exciting really, just a bit of behind the scenes stuff. But also one little new feature, which is kind of cool, but we will talk about that later because it's relevant to something that's coming up after all of this.
So before we get into that, let's go on to the awards. Picture of the week this week goes to Crispy for Green Frog has no remorse after killing 2 of this own clan. I like the way that Crispy has drawn this murderous frog as Michigan J. Frog from the Looney Tunes cartoon. And he's got us all singing that song as well. Well done, Crispy.
My favourite description this week was Romeo, an alien, fails to impress Juliet, the moon, by Chill, or Sea Hill perhaps. I like the way they've chosen an interpretation that doesn't necessarily match the picture at first glance, but then by explicitly explaining it, it does seem to make perfect sense. Plus, bonus marks for the fact that it's written like a dramatis personae that Shakespeare would have written. Nice work, Sea Hill. Chill.
Community pick of the week this week goes to Mirror, Mirror, Mirror for 2 out of 3 paintings have come to life and walked away. This is so funny. I love the way that Van Gogh thinks he's got lucky with the lady with the pearl earring. Very funny. I'm not surprised it got the most likes this week. Well done, Mirror.
Awesome stuff there, as always.
They were amazing, weren't they? So, what's been happening in the forums this week?
So last week, Ferret asked us if we thought that our artistic skills had improved over the time that we've been playing interference. For me, I feel like it did start improving, but then it's kind of plateaued since that. And in fact, I've got some drawings that I've done, this was quite a while ago. So this is something that I drew about 6.5 years ago or so. And you can see it was pretty basic. And if we look at one that I did a few weeks ago now, you can see that I've come on leaps and bounds. There's colours. That's something, isn't it?
I had a look at one of mine from ages ago, right from the beginning, like 6 or 7 years ago, and then I contrasted it with one I did recently. I think I put a lot more detail in now and I get the proportions a little bit better. It's got to be a bit of an improvement after all these years. So quite a few people have joined in and they've been saying, they get the timing better now and they get things done in time, and they're better at putting a bit more detail in and focusing on the important things and forgetting about background. So I think people generally do improve by playing interference.
And one person in particular who shared a link to some of their oldest stuff was Mirror, 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 who I'm sure won't mind us showing a copy of the pictures on here. So we've got one here from shortly after she started playing, which, this is probably equivalent to sort of my level of drawing. I think that's all good. But this is something that she did a few weeks ago, and you can kind of see. She's
amazing.
But everyone did seem to think they were sort of improving quite a lot. Yeah. I guess it's just practice. It's making it fun, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
I never liked my art lessons at school, but this is fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Partially because it's random, silly nonsense, which is great.
I know.
So the feature which we added in that I mentioned earlier is, well, you might have already seen it now. On the front page of the website and apps, we've now got a sort of a on this day kind of thing. Like you see on Facebook, where it's like, oh, did you see you posted this 2 years ago? Except we're showing something that you drew on this day in a previous year. So how long ago it is depends on what you'd been doing. If you hadn't drawn something this time last year, you'll see something from the year before, and it's really interesting seeing random things pop up, and basically seeing how rubbish I was in the past. But yeah, it's kind of cool. So it'll pull up the oldest thing that you drew on this day in history. It's kind of cool. So if you have a look at the home feed every day, you'll see a different thing appear on there.
Absolutely. Just by you. That's wonderful. Okay, so what are we going to be talking about this week, do you think?
It's a classic question this week. We've all seen some form of it somewhere on the internet, but what are 3 objects within grabbing distance from you right now? Do you keep your space tidy and there's only important objects surrounding you, or are you the messy type with interesting object stories to share?
So if you want to get involved in that discussion, pop over to the general forums and find the thread in there. But I think that's it for this week. We've got no more news, so we'll say goodbye.
That's it. Remember, if you're not already playing the game, then get involved at playinterference.com. You can also follow us on Twitter at PlayIFX, on Facebook at PlayInterference. We've also now got a Patreon page at patreon.com/interference if you'd like to help support development of the game and these little videos that we do each week.
That's it.
But that's it. Aside from that, have a great week. We will see you next Saturday.
See you.
Bye.
Bye.